Good morning. Our opening words today are a poem, Here I Am, by Elaine Kizia. And if you find some of Henry David Thoreau's thinking in here, you won't be alone. May my wisest self guide me through the day. May she remind me to look through eyes of wonder and see the abundant beauty of here and now. To live from my toes up, grounded in this precious earth and in this miraculous body. To open my heart, flinging wide its shutters so no defenses can cut me off. To employ my hands to create beauty, to soothe suffering, and to unlock potentials. Eyes, feet, heart, and hands. From here I can wake to my life and the gift that it is. From here I can move through my day with simple ease. From here I can spread compassion and love. And from here I can mend the world. May I be in harmony today with the current that flows through us all. And may I be a faithfully expression of its sacred source. Here I am. Will you all please rise in body or spirit for the opening hymn, number 347, in your gray or cloth-bound hymnal.
So welcome to First Parish in Bedford, a Unitarian Universalist congregation dedicated to furthering the spirit of liberal religion. Whoever you are, whomever you love, Whether you worship one God, many gods, or no God, you are welcome here. And it is good to be here together on the cusp of a new year, whether you are approaching the finish line of 2023, laughing or a little tender, or both, joyful or sorrowful, or both, elated or exhausted, hopeful or hesitant, or some combination of all of these things. Let us be together today in the fullness of our humanity, showing up as our real selves, and we'll be gathering together what we can of hope, compassion, and strength for the new year. I want to offer special welcome to our visitors this morning, whether you are in person or on Zoom. We are so glad you are here with us. Here in the sanctuary, at the end of the pew aisle, you will find a blue connection card. We hope that you will fill one out if you are a visitor and leave it with the ushers during the offering so that we can add you to our newsletter so we can stay in touch with you. You can also leave it at the welcome desk, which you will find right outside the doors to the common room. And while you're there, you can sign up for a name tag and chat with one of our friendly greeters. In Zoom, we will put a link in the chat to a form that you can fill out as your virtual blue connection card. Parents and caregivers of little ones, there is nursery available downstairs for your convenience. Of course, we're always also delighted to have our littlest ones here in the sanctuary with us as well. And everyone is invited to join us after the service for coffee or fellowship. There's also in the common room, but there's also a quiet space upstairs in room 201 with coffee service as an additional place for connection. A few announcements this morning. When you arrived today, you should have received a little plastic bag with a slip of paper and a pencil in it. This is Magician's flash paper, and we're going to use it for our ritual at the end of the service, so please don't open it until it's time. I will tell you when it is time. Parents, hold on to that for little ones. If you did not receive one, you can raise your hand and an usher will bring it to you now. So if you did not get a little plastic bag with a pencil and a piece of paper, raise your hand. Maureen will bring you one. All right, we have a new volunteer opportunity on Sunday mornings. There are a lot of volunteers who make Sunday happen. We have ushers and greeters and people making coffee. We have a tech team and a worship team and a choir and special musical guests. Some of these are relatively high commitment volunteer roles. Some of these are low commitment volunteer roles. This new opportunity is a low commitment volunteer role. We need people to help us take down our flags and bring in the parking signs each Sunday after the service. Now, it is a bit of a reach to get to the flags, right? So this is a task for someone who is a little taller, who is comfortable being in a reaching mode. If that is you, there is a sign-up genius on the volunteer page on the website. Click the link, go into the form, put your name in for whichever Sundays you want. While you're there, you might say, oh, there's also a need for coffee. Maybe I'll sign up for that. You know, however your spirit moves you to volunteer. So thank you in advance for helping us with this small but important task. And thank you to all of our amazing volunteers at First Parish. We will be ringing in the new year by ringing the steeple bell just after midnight tonight on the transition from 2023 to 2024. So you are welcome to join us on the morning of January 1st, 2024, just after the clock strikes midnight to ring in the new year. You can meet us on the town common just in front of the church. The Elm Street entrance will also be open. They say this is expected to be a hearty but not a lengthy endeavor. And finally, next Sunday, January 7th, after the service, we are having a ministerial startup conversation led by Evan Carville-Zemer, our representative from the UUA. And this is a chance for the congregation, you, to share with your new minister, me, anything that you think I should know about the church. This is a chance to tell stories that you want told. And when we come together and do this, most people learn things about their congregation that they didn't know. So this is a chance for me to learn, but it's also a chance for you to learn and to connect with each other. We will provide lunch. There will be childcare available upon request. We hope that everyone comes and joins us in this important conversation. If you do need childcare, please reach out to our Director of Faith Development for Children, Lisa Maria, so that she knows what the need is and that we have appropriate arrangements. Okay, those are all of our announcements. So now, if you will please rise again, we will share our unison affirmation, which is in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en espíritu de amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Please be seated. All right, so now is the time for our story for all ages. So parents who may be listening in on Zoom, this is a great time to gather the family around the inviting blue glow of your device. Our story today is called The Golden Door. One winter day, the animals woke up to find an empty doorway standing in the middle of the forest. The doorframe had been spray painted with gold paint and glitter, and it sparkled in the sun. At the top of the door was a sign that read, "The Golden Door to a Better You." How curious, thought the animals. What does this mean? Then a fox in a fancy suit and a top hat strode up and stood next to the door. "Aha," he said. "I see you have noticed my magnificent, magical golden doorway." "Magical," said the animals. "What does it do?" "Step right up," cried the fox, "and step through the golden door to a better life and a better you. Just one easy step through the doorway and life will be better because you will be better." "Well, what do you mean a better you?" asked a squirrel. "Well," said the fox, "let's talk about your tail. We have all in the forest admired your bright and bushy tail." The squirrel was very pleased with this and whisked his tail about. "But every tail," said the fox, "has days when it looks dull and squashy. What if I told you if you stepped through the golden door, your tail could be even brighter and bushier every day?" The squirrel had never noticed his tail being dull or squashy before, and now he was a little worried. Did everyone think it was dull? "Or take Mrs. Robin," said the fox. "How many mornings have we all woken up to her beautiful song trilling through the forest?" Mrs. Robin smiled and puffed up her chest. "La la 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 la," she trilled. "Oh, sure, sometimes she's a little flat. The tune might be a touch boring, it happens to the best of us. But what if I told you if you stepped through the golden door, your singing could be 20% better?" Mrs. Robin was now feeling a little self-conscious. Flat notes? Did everyone think there were problems with her singing? One by one, the fox called out the animals in the forest and named something about each one that could be better, that each animal had never even thought about before. By the end, all of the animals were feeling self-conscious and anxious about themselves. "And if you just step through the golden door," said the fox, "you will be a better you, and the best part is, it's practically free, just $39.95, plus a one-time activation fee, plus a monthly subscription fee." "And it really works?" said the squirrel. "Results may vary," said the fox, "but you won't know until you try. Just think how much better your lives could be with bushier tails and better singing." By now, the animals were so anxious about their problems that they thought they had no choice but to step through the golden door. Meanwhile, Mrs. Rabbit had been watching all of this, and at first she had an amused look on her face, but by the end she'd grown angry. She said, "Will you all stop and listen to yourselves? That fox has got you so turned around in your heads, you think you need some magic door to make yourself better? Well, I have a door of my own." She took 2 sticks and stuck them in the snow, making a crude space. Then she drew a line in front of them with her foot. "This is the door of kindness," she said. "If you step through this door, I will give you a hug. You will forget us nonsense about dull tales and flat notes, and instead you will all promise to be kinder to each other. Then everyone's life will be better. It is 100% guaranteed to work, and it is free." The animals thought about it, And then one by one, they all stepped through the door of kindness. Mrs. Rabbit gave them a hug, and from that day forth, everyone in the forest remembered the door of kindness and treated each other a little bit more kindly, and life really was better. And the fox, well, he packed up his golden door and moved on to try again in another town. Thank you for sharing our story.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Marge Heckman, and I am a member of the lay pastoral team here at First Parish. At this time in the service, we invite anyone in the sanctuary who would like to come forward and light a candle to do so. Please make sure you hold the microphone close to your mouth and keep your comments brief if you can. And after that, we'll check in on Zoom. And I light one final candle for all those thoughts and prayers that we keep in our hearts. And I'll remain at the candle stand after the service if anyone would like to light a candle in private.
Let's take a breath together. Just breathing in, breathing out, receiving everything that's been shared in this space today. This is a prayer by John O'Donohue called Blessing for a New Year. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought, the canoe of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work through these words of love around you, and an invisible cloak mind your life. May the joys and sorrows shared today be held in care and kindness. Amen.
Once upon a time, I'd come up here and say, well, I'm not your ordinary minister. Nothing ordinary at all. But several months ago, my college asked for some sort of personal note to add to the class letter. I'm sure you all get it. And I thought about this for no more than 3-4 minutes, and I really couldn't think of anything that I hadn't already described to my classmates. So I just reached for the handiest thought there was. And I wrote this: I've become more in touch with my mortality. I wrote that, and it was so easy to say, but what the heck did that mean? What was actually on my mind? Well, it turns out that Maria and I had experienced a great deal of anguish during the past few months. Real anguish. The passing of Maria's sister, Barbara, my good friend Dennis, our best friend in Bedford, Nancy, and our best friends from Venezuela, Donna and Carlos, all in the space of 12, 13 months. Well, today is indeed my birthday. I'm 81 years of age, and I've finally evolved from middle-aged to old. How far away is that final threshold, the one that's already been passed by those friends of ours? And what am I going to do in that mortal time that's left on earth? Well, little story. Once upon a time, I was a hiker. Loved the mountains. There was a milestone in the White Mountains. Ascend all 48 peaks. of 4,000 feet or greater, and you'll be in the 4,000 foot club. Well, I had about half of them under my belt when my youngest daughter, Rebecca, and I started counting hers. She hit Cannon Mountain when she was 9, carrying her own pack. I'd done a couple more, and I told her that by age 30, I was going to finish my list. Well, I didn't do it. Got a little closer to age 40, and I said, by the time I'm 40, didn't happen. Bounce that up another 10 years. Well, by the time I'm 50, surely I'll get that done. And it didn't happen. So I went to the hold all catch. Well, before I die, I'm going to do it. And Rebecca, God love her, said, well, you better get moving, old man. Those were her encouraging words. Well, you know my daughter, Rebecca, she's just a wonderful person. After many great heights, a couple of really miserable ones, overnights we finished my list on a sunny afternoon. And Jeff, wherever you are, I have my reading glasses on. You'll relate to this. The feeling when I hit my last 40,000 foot peak, a sunny day, and had a bottle of champagne. But that crossed me over the threshold to enter the 4,000 foot club. Now, there's no badge or pennant or trophy you get for that. You just get the inner spiritual feeling that you've really done something you wanted to do. But that final threshold, the one that ultimately greeted our friends, Nancy and Charlie and Dennis and the Caminoses, before that final threshold, the one thing we as living people must cross. There are a couple of things I've been trying to accomplish or maintain during my mortal life. And to quote Rebecca, I'd better get moving. Well, first of all, I will admit that I'm not always right. I will suggest to Rebecca that I'm not always wrong. And you can tell her that. I will continue giving my family love, respect, encouragement, and love. I will offer help where it's needed. I will not sign up for things I cannot get done. I will celebrate the accomplishments of older parishioners who have carried the torch for so long and achieved so much. And I will recognize the achievements, all the achievements of our newer members who will continue to carry on the spirit of First Parish. And I will continue living the faith that First Parish will flourish and thrive together forever. Loving, caring, ambitious, action-oriented, friendly, and welcoming. That's for the rest of my mortal days.
I don't know about you, but my mailbox has been full of appeals this month from various charities. All the ones I contributed to last year, some that I didn't, have sent me free address labels, cards, a pen, promises of t-shirts or tote bags, and that all in exchange for my tax-deductible contribution today. First Parish doesn't send out goodies like this. But think about what we get when we make our tax-deductible contribution today to First Parish. We get this comfortable, well-run place. We get programs that lead our children to develop strong and generous values. We get meditation on Tuesdays. Jamie and Annie, Brad and Sandra and Steve and Natan, Brenda and Stacy. We get each other. And we're all tax deductible today. So please give generously to the work of this community, both within and beyond these historic walls. You can make your contribution here, now, or online at uubedford.org. Raise your hand if you made New Year's resolutions last year. Up high, up high. Keep your hand up if you kept them. Yeah. The dark side of New Year's resolutions is that we use them to beat ourselves up. You know, we tell ourselves that we'll be so much better if only. Just like the fox in Jamie's story. But instead of resolutions, I'm going to offer some wisdom from people whose names you may or may not recognize. I hope this year to come you make mistakes. Because if you're making mistakes, then you're pushing yourself, changing yourself, trying new things, making new things, learning, living, changing the world. You're doing things you've never done before. And more importantly, you're doing something. That's Neil Gaiman, age 63, an English author of short fiction and other media. Hope smiles from the threshold of the year to come, whispering, "It will be happier." That's from Alfred Lord Tennyson, 1809 to 1892, who was the poet laureate during most of Queen Victoria's reign. Past and present I know well. Each is a friend and sometimes an enemy to me. But it is the quiet, beckoning future, an absolute stranger with whom I have fallen madly in love. Rochelle Goodrich, 59, American author. Well, we have a whole new year ahead of us. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all be a little more gentle with each other, a little more loving, and have a little more empathy. And maybe next year, at this time, we like each other a little more. Judy Garland, 1922 to 1969, American actor and singer. A new year, a fresh, clean start. It's like having a big white sheet of paper to draw on. Bill Watterson, 65, cartoonist, creator of Calvin and Hobbes. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't even happened yet. Anne Frank, 1929 to 1945, diarist. An optimist stays up until midnight to see the new year in. A pessimist stays up to make sure the old year leaves. William Vaughan, 1946 to 1977, columnist. Cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. Oprah Winfrey, 69. Let our New Year's resolution be this: we will be there for one another as fellow members of humanity in the finest sense of the word. Göran Persson, 74, leader of the Swedish Social Democratic Party from 1996 to 2007. Two more. Do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect. Alan Cohen, 73, inspirational author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And finally, you know, you can get excited about the future. The past won't mind. Hilary DiPiano, playwright, fiction and nonfiction author, best known for fantastically funny fairy tales and a woman who does not reveal her age.
I want to say a special thank you to Ron and Maria, our worship associates, for sharing today. You know, I told the story about the fox and the golden door at another UU congregation once upon a time. And when I did that in the Zoom portion of the service, a really spirited conversation broke out in the chat for the rest of the service about whether or not the fox got a hug And they were very concerned about the possibility the fox left without a hug, and so they all agreed that they would give the fox a hug. And I thought, I love UU community so much. So here we are on the cusp of a new year. Tomorrow is January 1st, 2024. The word January comes from the Roman god Janus, the god of beginnings and transitions. Janus is usually depicted as a man with two faces, one facing forward, one facing back, one looking backward to the past and one pointing forward to the future. And Janua is also the Latin word for door. Janus is the god of doorways and thresholds, and so we are all about to collectively step through that doorway into the new year. We are on a threshold. And there is a wonderful energy at this time of year for fresh starts and clean slates and new beginnings, right? For leaving the old behind and moving on into new possibilities, for freedom. There's absolutely no reason why that should be the case, right? There's no cosmic significance to our human-made calendar. The universe doesn't care how we mark time. But the cultural energy is undeniably there, and so there's no reason not to make use of it. And I love this time of year. I love New Year's. When I've had a good year, I can't wait to build on the momentum and make the next year even better. And it's very Unitarian to believe that it's only natural that the next year should be better than the one before. We are a famously optimistic religious tradition. We are a people that believe that dreams are meant to be achieved, that there's something beautiful inside all of us to share with the world, and that working together we can do remarkable things. Next year is not just, or New Year's is not just a time for taking stock of our lives, it's a time for taking stock of our dreams. It's a time for listening carefully to our innermost yearnings, of listening with a friendly and affectionate respect to what the unexplored recesses of our minds and our personalities might have to say to us, and what they might have to give to the world if we will let them. It's a time to step back from the hustle and bustle of our lives and pay attention to the wholeness of our person and for wondering what might be possible. The thing is, we are all bigger than we know. We are all bigger than whatever stories we are currently telling about ourselves, or whatever stories we are allowing the world to tell about ourselves. There's always newness in us waiting to be explored, and so it's worthwhile to be open to new things. And consider what avenues you can explore in 2024, what dreams you can dream, what new gifts you might have inside of you to give to the world. And of course, to make room for the new, it helps to let go of the old. So is there something that you are ready to let go of now to make room in your life for some new growth in 2024? Maybe there were some disappointments or setbacks in 2023 that you were ready to shake off and put behind you. I've had my years when I really needed to stop, catch my breath, maybe lick some wounds even, and make a fresh start. And maybe you had a year like that too, although I hope not. But if you did, I bet you have company, right? Setbacks, mistakes, mishaps. This is a part of life. It's a part of growth. So perhaps today you are ready to acknowledge a mistake, thank it for the lessons you have learned, if there were lessons learned, and to let it go. And of course, we don't have total control over what we can let go of, right? We can't just choose to let go of illness or addiction or hard economic circumstances or family responsibilities. So in general, I subscribe to the lifeboat principle that in an emergency, you secure your own life vest first, and then you help others secure theirs. So if 2023 was a lifeboat kind of year for you, then by all means, secure your life vest for 2024. And that is enough. And please reach out to resources that are available, and may you find in this community love and support to ease the way, if that is you. Now, we are sometimes burdened by relationships or jobs or even hobbies that no longer serve us, but that we feel too invested in to let go of. When you talk about letting go, there's an idea in economics called the Napoleon fallacy. That is when you foolishly decide to invade Russia in the wintertime, And after a few weeks on the march through the brutal cold and the wind and the muck and the mud, your supply lines are broken, your wagons are stuck, your troops are cold and hungry and demoralized, your horses are dying, and you say, we have come too far to turn back now, right? Onward to total disaster. And so you double down on commitments that no longer serve you, from inertia, from habit, from pride, from overinvestment. So maybe there is something like this that you are finally ready to let go of in 2024. Sometimes we are weighted down by things that we feel we should do or ought to do. And so the question is, ought to do according to whom? A wise old woman, once being told that she had to do something, replied, "Mister, the only thing I have to do is die." So are there expectations of others that we are ready to let go of in 2024? And then sometimes we are burdened down needlessly by our own unmet expectations, by the perceived distance between where we want to be in life and where we find ourselves. And the first step to letting go is the practice of acceptance. Someone once said, acceptance is when you let go of the dream of having a better past. When you let go of the dream of a better past. The past is what it is. You can't change it one jot by wishing it away. We can't change it one jot by refusing to accept it, and we certainly can't improve it through beating ourselves up. But here's the thing, wherever we find ourselves, we have all arrived at this moment in time as imperfect beings. But our faith of universalism, our tradition of universalism says again, we are larger than whatever story we are telling about ourselves. We have gifts inside of us to give always, and we can begin doing the work that love calls us to do right now, just as we are. And I will say that again for 2024. We can begin doing the work that love calls us to do right now, just as we are. And at New Year's, the complex mix of our optimism and our regrets intersects with this American cult of self-improvement, right? A cultural mythos that says, this year we can be richer, thinner, and younger than we were the year before. If only we will do the right things, which coincidentally means if only we will buy the right things. But we can do the work that love calls us to do just as we are. We do not have to perfect ourselves. We do not have to fix ourselves. The person who steps through the golden doorway to a new year tonight at December 31st, 11:59 and 59 seconds, that person will be us, with all of our beauty and all of our imperfections. And the person who arrives on the other side on January 1st, 12 a.m. and 1 second, will be us, with all of our beauty and our imperfections, and it is good. We are enough. You are enough. I suggest that to the extent we make resolutions, let them not be centered on fixing or controlling. Let them not be centered on the American cult of self-improvement, but rather on creating more loving relationships between ourselves and between the world. Let our resolutions be centered on bringing more compassion and kindness into the world, including for ourselves. Let us be open to some surprising twists and turns as we live out this compassion. When we let go of those things that no longer suit us, we make space for our lives to change in interesting ways. So like Janice, we have our two visions, our vision of the year behind us, with its satisfactions and disappointments, and our vision of the year ahead of us, a bright, clean canvas on which we can project our hopes and our dreams. We're standing on a doorway. And my hope with the service today is that we can all step a little more lightly through that door. So that brings us to our burning bull ritual with which we will close our service. This is a ritual performed in many UU churches at New Year's. It's a ritual for moving into the new year. And the way it works is this. You've each been given a piece of magician's flash paper and a pencil in that little packet. In a moment, Steve is going to play some meditative background music, and after taking a breath and reflecting for just a moment, but don't overthink this, you will be invited to write on the flash paper. And then one by one, you're going to come up, and we're going to burn up that flash paper in the flame of our chalice. And on one side of the paper, if you wish, you may write something that you are ready to let go of as you enter the new year. And when you burn it up, you can think, I release you. And on the other side, if you wish, you may write a hope that you have for 2024, something you want to manifest for yourself or the world. And when you burn it up, it is like the universe is taking your desire back into itself. And you can say, may it be so. And of course, you can do both. You can write something you want to let go of, and you can write something that you have a hope for. Either way, this writing is for you, so do whatever moves you. Parents and other responsible big people, you may want to help your children write a wish on their flash paper. So, when you are done writing, and I will sound the singing bowl when we are done with the time for writing, what's going to happen is everyone is going to come up the center aisle. People in the middle, you can just come up. People on the outside, please go around and up. We have tongs. I will stand right here. You can burn it up yourself, or I will help you burn it up. And if you are not able to come to the front of the aisle, you can also raise your hand, and I will come collect the paper for you. For people in the balcony, an usher is going to come up and light a chalice in the bacon room and the mask required room, and you can burn your paper up there. There are tongs upstairs for that. And finally, on Zoom, we will symbolically burn up a piece of paper for you. And I'm going to show you really quickly what this looks like, and then you're going to start writing, and Steve is going to play some music. And again, I'll sound the gong when we're ready. Please begin writing. anyone here in the sanctuary not have a chance to burn up a piece of paper? And the people in the balcony, you got lit and taken care of? Then we will symbolically burn up a piece of paper for everyone on Zoom. All right, closing words, and then we will sing our final hymn. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of peace, help us to enter this new year with lighter hearts, freed of those things which we seek to release, energized by those dreams we dare to dream. Let us not be afraid to need in 2024, because we are all in need. Let us not be afraid to love and receive love, because if there's one thing that our faith assures us, it is that there is more love waiting for us in the new year than we can know. As the old year closes and the new year opens, as we enter the next cycle of endings and beginnings, let our days be filled with courage and imagination, kindness and compassion, wonder and delight. May it be so. Our closing hymn is number 58. In your gray or cloth-covered hymnal, ring out wild bells. Please rise in body or spirit. Be seated. Our closing words today are the Celtic blessing. Deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the child of peace to you. Blessed be and amen. Go in peace and Happy New Year.